Tap, tap, tap. Is this thing on? All right. First thing, a few weeks ago or months ago, no, I think it was about a month ago. A guy who was on here during a live said, "Hey, Jaimie, I want to send you some maple syrup from Vermont, where you used to live," because I used to live in Vermont. And this guy lives pretty close to where I lived in Vermont. Anyway, he said he wanted to send me some maple syrup. Oh, yeah. I don't remember exactly what day he sent it, but yeah, I got it today. So if you're here and you remember what day you sent it, then you can calculate how long it takes to get here. Although it depends. When things get shipped here, there's kind of like a monthly container that comes. So anyway, I have maple syrup, 2 things. Oh, I'm so excited. I don't even know what I'm going to do with it. Oh, so tasty. Oh, so super. Thank you, man. Also, and I picked that up today because I was in town. I also got a few other things. I picked up some fiberglass reinforcement for concrete that I want to play with. One that's just like loose fibers that you mix in with the concrete, and then the other one that's like a fiberglass mesh, but not that you would use for fiberglass. It looks more like hardware cloth, but made out of fiberglass. Anyway, I picked up a few other things. Was there anything else? Oh, one thing I got, we picked this up now. I was just playing with it, is these exploding popcorn cannon machines. These are the traditional Chinese popcorn maker machine cannon thing. Anyway, I exploded some popcorn, and this is what a kernel looks like after it's exploded. Sorry, you have to excuse my lighting. It's getting late here. Anyway, I also exploded some rice, and it just it puffs the stuff up. Anyway, I think I'm making a video about it, although I just did it and I'm not sure how bad the lighting was. Also, when I was in town today, I attended the first annual Intergalactic Triathlon. That may be a slight exaggeration. It may not have been intergalactic, but I was there, so I mean, whatever. Anyway, I mentioned this 2 weeks ago. Like 2 weeks ago, some lady in town was like, "You know what? I think there should be a triathlon in 2 weeks." So she just, it's a very chill thing. She just kind of organized it, put out the word, "We're having a triathlon on this day." And I knew someone who knows her, so that's how I found out about it. And I said, yeah, I'll come. This was 2 weeks ago. And I've had this calf strain in my left leg, my left calf. It's been kind of an off and on thing for a while now. Like, it'll be okay for a while, but then I'll restrain it because I haven't really gotten it back to 100%. When you get those nagging injuries where you recover and you get it almost back to full strength, and then you kind of tweak it again, and it's like, oh crap, now I'm gonna have to limp around for a few more days to get it back to usable, and then a month later you blow it out again. Anyway, so I've had this recurring calf injury. So I was like, well, I'll come. I'll definitely do the bike and the swim. The run, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, so I got there. I was in town today, and that's where the triathlon was. Well, it was kind of outside of town, but near the town where I usually go to get supplies. And I don't have a bike, but I know some people in town, and I asked the guy, "Hey man, can I borrow your bike for this triathlon?" He's like, "What triathlon?" I'm like, "This triathlon." He's like, "Oh, wait, let me check on my phone. Oh yeah, I got a message about that." "Oh yeah, sure, go ahead." So anyway, I got his bike, and I'm riding his bike over to where the triathlon is early in the morning. And I haven't been on a bike in 15 years or something. So it's all weird. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to fall and die. But I'm like, all right, it's like a mile from here to there. I should get the kinks worked out by the time I get there. And sure enough, by the time I went a couple hundred meters, I started getting back into it. It's just like riding a bike. Anyway, so I'm almost there. And I see this girl off on the side of the street, just pulling into the street on her bike. and I see her arms, and she's like jacked, not like huge like a dude, but she is like toned. And I'm like, oh, she's got to be going to the triathlon. She's all like fit and getting on her bike, heading the right direction. And I was passing her. I was like, wow, she's kind of cute. I'm gonna have to come up with a reason to talk to this lady at this triathlon, which shouldn't be that difficult. So I stop at where the triathlon is, and I see her coming by, and she goes right past. And I was like, ah, all right, whatever. So I go into the little area. They were just setting it up at some restaurant on the beach. So I go in there and I'm hanging out. And first they're doing a kids triathlon, and I was also there with my kids. But that's not important. I mean, it was important to me, but it's not important to the story. But my kids were there, and they were super awesome and everything. Actually, my kids being there is a little bit important to the story. So yeah, my kids were there. Anyway, so I get in there, and the lady's like, oh, I'm glad you came. There's only one other adult doing it. They had a pile of kids there to do the triathlon. There's only one other adult. And I'm like, come on. But a few other people showed up. So anyway, while the kids were going. So the kids went and did their triathlon, and it was a pretty short one, just a fun thing. This was a pretty chill thing, right? Very chill. So the kids went and did their triathlon on their little BMX bikes and stuff. And, they did the bike part, and then they ran up and down the beach and then did a little swim and came back, and yay, everything was very exciting and great, right? And then the lady's like, all right, now let's see the parents fall on their face. Ha ha ha. Well, she didn't say exactly that, but like, let's see that, now the parents are going. And at this point, there's like 4 people doing this triathlon. I'm like, all right, this is gonna be really chill, right? Because I'm there with sandals on and just like whatever, some normal t-shirt. I just look like I just walked off the street, which I basically did. And then there's some other lady. She didn't even have shoes on. She's just like, whatever. And then there's this dude who's like, he's like 4 feet tall and 4 feet wide, but not fat. He was like, this is a common body type around here in Central America. He just looks like he could lift like 4 tons and just wide, and not like he's a bodybuilder or anything. He's just stocky dude, right? And I'm like, well, that guy's not really built for like speed or anything. So this is going to be pretty chill. But then I look, this 4th person is this lady, and she's got on the shoes, she's got on the helmet, but not just even the normal biking helmet, the biking helmet with like the aerodynamic thing that sticks out the back. And I'm like, she's got like the fancy stuff on, and her bike wasn't too fancy, which was good. Anyway, so we all go to the start line on our little bikes, and this bike I borrowed from a guy. It was like a mountain bike with an electric assist, like motor thing. But I wasn't using that, obviously. So that was all dead weight for me. So it was a big, heavy bike. But it wasn't too bad. It's got a lithium battery, so it's not that heavy. And it actually wasn't even charged, because after the triathlon, I was like, what is this electric thing? And it didn't even turn on. But anyway, so I got this bike, and the seat's not the right height. And it doesn't really fit me, but I'm like, whatever. This is super chill, right? And then this lady beside me, right at the start line, she says, well, this lady right here, the one who's got all the fancy stuff on, she's like a professional triathlete. And I'm like, are you a professional triathlete? And a lot of this conversation happened in Spanish, but I'm just going to spare you my terrible Spanish, and we're just going to say it in English. And she's like, well, not anymore. I'm like, how long ago were you like a serious triathlete? She's like, 5 years. And I'm like, oh. So 5 years ago, this lady was like hardcore. And I'm thinking like, I haven't been like hardcore into any of this kind of stuff for like 20 years or something, But all right, well, let's just see how this goes. And I'm like, you're going to be pretty chill. We're chilling here, right? We're not like going, right? And so she's just like, So the lady over at the side who organized the thing, she's like, all right, you guys ready? And we're like, I don't know, sure. So she says, all right, on your marks, set, go. And what we've got to do is we've got to head down this trail, this like dirt road, come back, then go that way, and then come back, and do that 4 times. And the one road that goes straight ahead of us, there's like a dead end at the end. There's no mistaking where you turn around. So I'm on my bike. She says go, and I'm thinking we're just kind of, gently saunter into this, right? Because we got a long way to go. Let's ease into it. The other three of them just they take off, and I'm like at last, and I'm like, all right, they're serious. So I get up on my on my feet, and I'm like to catch up. So I pass the other two, but then there's a serious triathlete lady in front of me, and I'm like, well, let me just follow her for a while, because she knows what she's doing, right? Hopefully she's not taking this too serious, but we'll see. But she knows where she's going and everything. So I'm like, let me just follow her. Except that it just rained, and we're on a dirt road, so I'm following her, and all this dirt is like. So I'm like, all right, I gotta go up. So I speed up and dodging puddles, and I get up beside her, and I'm like, all right, this is better. I'm just gonna chill with this lady here. We're gonna go. So we get up to the point where we got to turn around, and the whole time I've just kind of been goofing around, speeding up and slowing down, and jumping off little bumps and stuff, kind of wasting a lot of energy, but I wasn't really taking it seriously. So anyway, we get to the turnaround, and I slow down so I could come in behind her, so we could both single file turn around, and we turn around, and she takes off on me, and I'm like, whoa. So I speed up and catch up to her, but I'm like, all right, I'm gonna let her go ahead a little bit. I'm just gonna see what goes on here. So I'm at this point, I'm riding far enough back from her that I'm not getting the spray, but just sticking with her. And then we get to the turn where we go down this other road, like the main road, and we're supposed to turn around at a cone. So we're biking through a little bit, and she's ahead of me, and I'm like, hey, is this the cone? And she looks back, and she's like, and she points, and there's traffic cones, because there's construction. There's cones all over the place. And after the whole thing was over, this guy was like, what happened to you guys on the first lap? And I was like, we're supposed to turn around at the cone. And I point off in the direction across the water to where you can see the road that we were going down. And he's like, oh, because you could just see traffic cones, 100 traffic cones all the way down this road. We were supposed to turn around at the first one. Anyway, she keeps going right past it, and I'm like, oh, maybe she knows something I don't. So I keep going, I'm following her, and everyone else behind keeps following us. We ended up going way, way further than we're supposed to go. And finally, when the road turned into just sand, I'm like, whoa, I'm pretty sure we've gone further than we're supposed to go. We've gone way more than the distance that we're supposed to be going here. Because it's a pretty short little thing, right? It's only supposed to be 4-mile bike. So each little lap is supposed to be 1 mile. And I'm like, we've already gone miles. This is on this first lap. So she's like, all right, let's turn around and go back. And just after we turn around and are heading back, the lady who was organizing the thing, she's hauling ass down on her electric bike down here. Wait, you missed the cone. You gotta go back. But she's like, okay, just do 2 more laps. Don't skip a lap. It's supposed to be 4. Just do 2 more, stopping at the first cone. We're like, oh, okay. So we get back, and we're going back down through the thing for our second lap, which now counts as our third lap. And at this point, I realize I'm having difficulty keeping up with this triathlete lady. And I kind of take a look at her, and she has got the full on like she's holding, she has got the concentration focus. And she is going, she's pacing herself, and she's got the watch, and she's pushing it, and she's going. I'm like, oh crap, I was not prepared for this. So I start, and I've been screwing around the whole time, right? Jumping off things, standing up in the bike, zooming up a hill and zooming down, whatever. At that point, I was like, oh crap, my kids are watching too. My kids are gonna watch me get my ass handed to me by this lady if I don't start getting serious. So I'm I sit back down in my seat, and I'm like, all right, I got these handlebars. I just gotta start focus on being efficient. And I start pumping my legs in the most efficient, like I used to do when I would compete in things. I never actually competed in cycling, but it's the same kind of thing, endurance sports. Like I know how to put myself in an efficient mode and go. And I'm like, wow, my quads are so sore because I've been screwing around, wasting so much energy. So I got to recover while catching up to this lady. And I'm like, so she's slowly pulling ahead of me, and I'm like almost going as hard as I can. And I'm like, all right, just calm down, just focus, just keep going. So I start pedaling and I keep pedaling, and I'm thinking, all right, I'm definitely hurting here, but this lady is not invincible. She is not magic. She's got to be feeling it too. And that's why she's got this serious look on her face. All right. She's hurting, maybe not as much as I am at this point because she hasn't been screwing around, but she's definitely hurting too. So I'm just going to start cranking up the pain. So I'm like pedaling slowly harder and harder and harder, and I catch up to her. And then we get around a corner, and I like get up on my standing in the bike, and I'm like, let me get a lead and see what she does. So I take off on a lead and get ahead of her for the first time. And I look back and she's keeping up with me. And I'm like, all right, lady. All right, this is it. So I start pedaling harder and harder, just thinking, just getting into that mode of like going harder and harder. And after like the third lap, by the time we got to the fourth lap, she was starting to trail a little further. And I was like, because I would take a peek back every once in a while. And anytime we turned around, I could see how far she was. And I was like, all right, she's starting to fade. But she's still pushing. So I can't screw around. I got to keep going. And my legs were like just throbbing at that point. Anyway, I got through the fourth lap, and I pushed that one pretty hard. But I was also thinking, man, if this is gonna be a real race, I'm gonna have to do the run, even if my leg, is kind of questionable. This calf strain I have. But I'll see how it goes. I'll start the run and just see how it goes. So I get back first from the bike, and I get off the bike, and my legs are all like, whoa. And it's not my bike, so I don't want to just throw it down and start running, because it's not my bike. I got to take care of it. So I carefully walk it over to where it was parked before, and I lean it against a tree, and I turn around, and this lady has come in. She's just ejected her bike, and she is taken off. She is like gone. And I'm like, oh crap. So I'm like running after, but I'm like, I gotta be super chill here, because I got this calf injury that I don't know. It feels fine at the moment, but I don't know if I'm gonna like blow something on it. So I'm just like kind of jogging real slow. Plus my legs are like feeling like jello at this point. And I'm like, wow, I am really just kind of like trucking along here, just like barely moving. Now, luckily, I've done a ton of running in my life. So my barely moving was actually catching up to this lady who'd snuck out the lead in the transition between the bike to the run. And she got a pretty good lead. It took me we were doing another 4-lap thing during this running thing. It was like down to this one dock and then back, and do that 4 times. And she was ahead of me all the way down to that freaking dock the first lap. And I finally caught up to her. And then I'm like, well, do I run with this lady? Or do I take off? So I ran up beside her, and I was like, how you doing? And this was in Spanish again, because she had more Spanish than English. And she's like, todo bien. Okay, I'm good. And so I was running with her for a little bit, and I realized, oh, I have definitely got more speed in me than this lady right now. This is what she's doing. So I'm like, well, let me just speed up a little and see what she does. And I sped up a little, and she didn't do anything. She was already maxing out. And I was like, all right, let's go at this horribly slow speed, because my legs are all jello-y. But I'm realizing, well, her legs are jello-y too. Of course they are. She just did the same thing I did. Plus, she's probably not as good a runner as I was, because that was like my specialty for a long time. Anyway, So I take off on her. And by the time I was at the end of the run, I had a significant lead. And the whole time I was running, I just kept thinking, how's my calf feeling? It feels all right. It seems to be all right, through one lap. And then I got through the second lap. And, on the third lap, I was starting to be like, well, I feel like I can actually kind of start opening up and start running for real, right? Because my calves feel fine. Maybe it was just all that biking we did first. And I got it so warmed up and ready to go. And now I'm ready to go. Anyway, so on the fourth lap, I'm like, all right, let's just bust it out and just run like I used to run. Because my brain still remembers how I used to run. Like run for real, man. So anyway, by the end of the run, I had a huge lead at that point. And the lady who's organizing the triathlon is like, over here, there's a post. And it's like this railway, railway track, like a big piece of metal just stuck in the sand, maybe like a meter deep water, just like, sticking out. Man, I feel bad for anyone whose boat has hit that. Anyway, she's like, from this post to that dock way over there and then back. And I think it was only like a quarter-mile swim. However, after all that biking and running, it's kind of a pretty good swim. And not that any of these distances are long, but any distance is long when you're going hard. And I got this lady behind me, and I got my kids watching, and they see I'm winning, and they're like, yeah, Jaimie. Except, mostly they're playing sandcastles. But, I'm pretending at least one of them is excited that I'm doing well, So I hop in the water, and I start swimming. I'm swimming. And the lady who's organizing that triathlon is like, go to that dock and back, and, it's not that deep. If you need to stand at some point and rest. And I'm like, stand and rest? What are you talking about? I got someone on my ass. So I start swimming. I'm swimming. But pretty soon my arms are just like, so I start side stroking and breaststroking. And then I do some backstroke to just use some different muscles. Because my whatever these things are, what are those things? My triceps were like this. Anyway, so I keep looking back every once in a while, and I saw when the lady came into the water, and I'm like, I'm already like not most of the way. I'm like a third of the way to this dock already. I'm like way ahead. So I'm kind of relaxing a little bit. I see a couple of my kids playing in the water with a bunch of other kids, and I'm like, hey guys, how you doing? And my daughter's like, oh yeah, we're good. And I'm like, hey, check it out, I'm winning. And she's like, okay. I'm just going to pretend she was like, yeah, way to go, Dad. Whatever, she was busy playing. Anyway, so I keep swimming. And I'm like, all right, I better not screw around too much. Let's get back to front crawl. And I'm going. And finally, I get up to this dock, touch the dock, and turn around. And I'm like, I can't see where this lady is. This lady who's following me. I can't see where she is at all. Where is this lady? And I'm like, wait, there's someone. No, that's the third person. Because that person is too far back. Where's this lady who was behind me? So I'm like, I better start moving. I don't even know where she is. So I start swimming. And as I'm swimming, every few seconds or whatever, I kind of pop my head up to see if I see anyone ahead of me coming this way. And then at some point I look behind me, and she's already at the dock. She kind of went right along the shore while I was going way out. And I'm like, oh, I've been not getting it. I've been doing this inefficiently. She actually took a straight line, and I was just kind of going like this. And at that point I was like, well, I can't lose now, but I don't know how good a swimmer this lady is. She looks like she might be catching up. Maybe, I don't know. Is she catching up? It's hard to tell when you're in the water. So anyway, at that point, I was like, all right, let's go swim. And my arms are burning. I'm like, just keep going. and I'm kicking and paddling and paddling. And finally I get close enough that I start seeing the lady who organized the thing up ahead. She's like, come on. And I'm like, I'm coming. What do you think I'm doing? But she's just being excited, and that's kind of her job and her thing. So I'm swimming and swimming and swimming. My arms are like burning like crazy. And at this point, I've been looking so much to see where I am and where this lady is behind me that my eyes are like burning from all the salt water. but I'm not looking behind me anymore. I'm just like going and going and going. So finally, I get up to the lady who was organizing the thing, and I'm like, are you at the finish line? And she's like, yeah. So I finished. Yeah, that was a fun day, man. And then the lady who was behind me came up, and I high-fived her, and she high-fived the finish line. And we actually, while we were doing the whole triathlon, it was really fun because, just hanging out. Me and this second lady, we high-fived each other every time we passed each other, and she gave me some water at some point, and it wasn't like we were definitely competitive with each other. Like we were like, what do you call it? One-stepping for a while there, particularly on the bike. One-stepping is where one person kind of like takes a step ahead of the other person, and the other person speeds up a little, and then the other person speeds up a little. Yeah, we were definitely competitive with each other, but it was super friendly and everything was cool. Totally fun day, man. Anyway, I am officially grand champion of the universe in triathlon. The triathlon I did with four people in it. But anyway, so that was pretty fun. That's what I did. That's what I did this morning. And other than that, played with my popcorn cannon when I got home. So let's see, what else do I have to talk about? Oh, another exciting thing. Okay, this isn't as exciting as being grand champion of the universe, but you probably saw in I think it was my most recent video, I got my first kayak built and tested it. Oh, it is so good. I did put that video up, right? I think I put that video up. I'm pretty sure I did. Oh, that kayak is so good. Oh, it's so nice. Like it slides through the water. Like it's just like, just a little bit of paddling gets it up to speed, and then keeping the speed is, it's so nice. Like when you have a really streamlined vessel, it just doesn't take much to keep it going. Just a little push here and there, and it just glides along. Oh, so nice. At what I found to be a surprisingly good speed. And I wasn't even aware of how fast it was going until I started looking at the scenery around me. Because when you're in a boat and it's really streamlined, it doesn't cause a lot of disturbance in the water. So it kind of feels like you're not doing much, right? But then you look at the mangroves going by, and they're just like, and it's like, whoa, I am going way faster than this feels. That was great. And then even the steering, like it tracks really well, goes straight very easily. Like it's super easy to keep it straight, but it's also pretty easy to steer. Like I could turn on the spot without that much difficulty. Just really good shape. I'm super happy with the design. And, I did try to design it to have all those features, and yeah, so good, so good. And that kayak, I even painted with a roller, so it's not even that smooth on the outer surface. So when I get one painted with a sprayer, it'll be even smoother through the water. Although the roller one is totally good for me, man. That thing is great. I'm really happy with it. What else is going on? Nothing else is going on. That's it. That's the whole universe. Let's see what's going on in comments world here. What's up, Jaimie? How's it going? B. Tony, how's it going? Oh, Wizard of the North has retracted a comment. Oh, now I'm suspicious. Oh no, he made a new comment right after. It was probably made a typo. Intergalactic. So it's more of a quadathlon, I guess. Swimming, cycling, running, and space travel. Oh yes, I forgot. After the swimming, there was an intergalactic space travel portion of the event, when there was a space worm. That's what makes wormholes, of course, space worms. We had to catch a space worm and get it to make a wormhole and then intergalactically travel. But that part, yeah, I mean, it happened so quick because once they make the wormhole, you just step through. So that part just happened real fast. Brian Mahoney says, "Are you vegan, carnivore?" Neither. I just eat everything. I think I mentioned this last week, but out of vegan or carnivore, I would definitely choose carnivore. However, I think it's really valuable to be able to eat a wide variety of foods because it makes you more adaptable to different situations. And not even just, social situations. Like, it's nice to be able to go to someone's house and just be able to eat the food, whatever they're making. Like, if you go to someone's house for dinner, you don't have to be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't eat that because do." But besides all that stuff, like, you never know what's going to happen in the world. Like, what if there's an apocalypse? Zombie apocalypse or something. The grocery store doesn't have anything you could possibly want, which is a very luxurious thing that I think a lot of people take for granted. Like, today, the way we can just choose, like, basically any food you want. Like, you can just go to the grocery store, buy, like you can choose to be carnivore or vegan, and you could choose a really specific diet and actually reliably make it happen. But that's something that hasn't existed through most of human history. Through most of human history, it's like whatever food is available, you eat that. I totally missed them. And anyone who either doesn't eat it or can't eat it dies. So I think it's really valuable to maintain a varied diet. I think that's just a really valuable thing, and something we shouldn't lose just because we have the luxury to be able to choose a specific diet. So I eat everything. Yeah, like all kinds of stuff. Way to go! Glad you did it. Always good to check out our real endurance. It was kind of weird doing the triathlon because, I do a lot of exercise here. A lot of it is just digging and carrying things and stuff like that. But it's been a while since I was in a situation where my legs are burning and I can't slow down for an hour or whatever. I don't know how long it took, but when I was doing the biking, I was still way at the beginning of this whole triathlon, and my legs were burning. And I was like, "Oh, I can't slow down. I have to go for a while." I just haven't had that experience in a while because if I'm carrying boards or logs out of the jungle, I can't let my body get to that point of feeling jello-y because I could get hurt. I could fall and break something. So it was really cool to have that experience because I haven't competed in a long time in anything, but it was really cool to have that experience again and just be like, wow, my body can feel really, really uncomfortable. Well, I shouldn't even say uncomfortable. I kind of like it, but it's agonizingly painful in a fun way, I guess. I don't know what to call it. And then to know that I got to keep going. Yeah, it's kind of cool to do that again. I need to do more of that stuff, I think. Let's see. She was taking EPO. Brian Mahoney, I have no idea what you're talking about. You need to have complete sentences. Go, Jaimie, go. Thank you, David Rubino. Mr. Landfill, what's up, man? Sean says, "Hey, Mr. Landfill, what did you work on this week? Any projects? Mr. Landfill installed an AC unit at my daughter's house." Oh, that's super nice. Good job, Dad. Yeah, sure. Sean Laurie says, "Way to go, Dad." Lois, how's it going, Lois? Good to see you again this week. Congrats on being grand champion of the universe. I actually forgot to do the grand champion of the universe dance. When I was finished, which I should have done. I mean, the lady who organized the triathlon, she would have found it hilarious, but I just didn't think of it at the time. I was just like, "Oh, I'm done and I won, so I don't know what to do. Yay!" I'm going to go get a drink now, okay? No, grand champion of the universe. Anyway, I also met some very nice people at the triathlon. It was a fun thing to do. Oh, Mr. Landfill posting my website and my Thingiverse thing. Well, thank you very much. I have something else to post on Thingiverse, actually. Nothing super exciting, just some updated Lego tracks. Oh, no, there is one thing that I have to post on there that is super exciting, which is a spider tank, but I have to go through the parts and make sure I present it in a way that someone could actually assemble the thing. So I kind of have to organize it, you know. Okay, Lois, pondering something you said last week when you were talking about potential romantic relationship. Okay. Okay, there's one comment between, but we're going to get right back to that. Okay, the kayak, Tony says, the kayak is awesome. Great design. So much for the person that was telling you to add wood for strength. You know exactly what you were doing when you designed it. You know what? I want to make a point of that, actually, what you were just saying there, before I get to what Lois was saying. So the kayak is a perfect example of one of those things that I've done where I started it, and kind of every step of the way, there was someone saying, you're doing it wrong. That's not going to work. You can't do it like that. What are you doing? So, for example, whoever was saying I need to put wood in it, and the wood I used to make the mold, it was half inch plywood, right? Which is not actually half an inch thick. I don't know why they even use these measurements, but whatever. It's called half inch plywood. And the guy at the store is like, no, you can't use that to make a kayak because you can't bend it. It won't bend. You got to use the what is it, like the quarter inch, which is actually more like an eighth inch. If it was actually a quarter inch, it might be all right, but it's more like an eighth inch. And I'm like, no, that's too wobbly. Like it bends too easily. Like I need it to be resisting the bending. I need it to be trying to stay straight so that when I twist it, it doesn't also wobble. Oh no, that won't work. That won't work. You can't. Finally, I'm just like, I just want this. I want 2 sheets of this. Doesn't matter what I'm doing. This is what I want, you know? And just like every step of the way, someone's like, no, the design's not going to work. The mold's wrong. You know, you can't do this. Just everything. And then came out perfectly. And the reason I want to bring that up is because this is something that happens to a lot of people where they'll think about doing something, and the first person who comes along and says, no, that's not going to work, discourages them to the point where they don't do it. And this happens way more than it should. First, like don't do that to people. Like if someone's thinking about doing something, don't make your first reaction to them be like, oh, that's not going to work, don't do it. Like let them try it, man, before you jump in there and tell them what's wrong. Like if you have some input, try to be constructive. Like help direct them in a way that, I don't know. A lot of times though, people need to try something so they can learn something. Anyway, but on the other end of that, if you want to try something and you don't even know if it's going to work, it doesn't mean you shouldn't try it. And just because other people say it's not going to work, even if they're like super experts and stuff, that doesn't mean it's not going to work. So many times in my life, I've done things and experts have told me that will not work, and then it's come out amazing. So don't be discouraged by naysayers. What's that saying? The people who saying it can't be done should never get in the way of the people doing it. That's a really good one. So don't ever let yourself get discouraged by people saying something won't work. Even if the last thing you tried didn't work and they laughed in your face and said, ha, I told you so. No, you gotta keep trying things, and that's how you learn, and that's how you grow, and that's how you come up with cool things. All right. Let's see. Okay, Lois. This is about when I was talking about potential romantic companionship, which is an important topic. The more I think about that, the more important I think it is. But what if the fit? Okay, But what if the fit, positive attitude, chemistry filled, like-minded, perfect match woman of your dreams is more interested in building her own adventures instead of laboring as a side story? Then it doesn't work. I think that's one of the big problems in terms of meeting a romantic partner, or even just meeting friends that you want to do things with. Particularly if you're a very motivated person, it's hard to connect with other motivated people. And the more motivated you are, the more you do, the harder it is to find other motivated people who you can collaborate with, because other motivated people are often doing their own thing already. And that's one of the biggest challenges I've had in building a community here, which is, it's going well. It's just going very slowly because it's hard to meet people who are motivated and, I guess that's the main thing, who are just really motivated, who aren't already doing their own thing. But yeah, in terms of meeting a romantic partner, I think there was more to this question. Is love with you dependent upon her submission to your vision? No, it doesn't. No, I don't want submission to my vision. That's not a way to think about it. No, I definitely don't want. I guess that could work. That's definitely one of the scenarios that could work. Like if I met a woman who saw. No, I don't think it does work. Because I don't want to meet a woman who's just going to submit to my vision. I don't think that would work. But if I met a woman who saw what I was doing and was like, that's cool, I can get on that. That's different than submitting to it. It's like more like she has to have her own interest in what I'm doing, and then she can participate in it, and that's important, because if you get together with someone who's not interested in living the same kind of lifestyle as you, and a lot of people have found this out the hard way, she'll be trying to go another direction, and you end up fighting each other. So, and I'm sure there's circumstances where it doesn't matter as much, but particularly in a circumstance where someone like me is living a lifestyle in a very deliberate, what's the word? Pragmatic? Is it pragmatic? Well, anyway, in a very deliberate, thought out way. Like my lifestyle is a big part of who I am. Like I didn't just kind of take the lifestyle that was offered to me and just go with it. I put a lot of very, very specific, very directed thought into the lifestyle I want, and then have put a lot of like very deliberate effort into actions that create a certain lifestyle for myself. So in that case, I think it is really important to be with someone who wants something similar. Now, if I were to meet someone who also, if I meet this amazing woman, with your whole description there, it has a positive attitude and is interested in blah, blah, blah and stuff. If she was like, I love what you're doing, but I really want to have a observatory and I want to study the stars, I'd be like, okay, let's build an observatory. I don't want someone who's just gonna come and like lick my boots and do whatever I want. I want someone who I could live with, who's gonna love it. So I don't know. Is your love dependent upon her submission to your vision? And what if she wants to more interested in building her own adventures instead of laboring? I don't know what that means. Like, if you're building your own adventures, isn't that laboring? Or do you mean like laboring just for me or whatever? No, I want a collaboration. I don't want to just dominate someone. I do have a very dominant personality, but I always make sure I take other people's views into account and stuff, or I do my best to anyway. And I've never been into all that, all that stuff where people who are trying to be dominant have to constantly show their dominance. I hate that stuff. Oh, I really hate that, where they've got rules and it's strict and you have to follow and do exactly what I say, and everything has to constantly reinforce the idea that I'm dominant and you're submissive. I've never been into that. I have a very dominant personality, mostly because I just have ideas of how to do things. And then when I'm in a group of other people, I always consider their ideas. So people always, whenever I'm in a group situation, I always end up being the leader. Not because I'm trying to be the dominant person, just because I fit into that role well, But yeah, I don't want someone I'm going to run over. That doesn't make sense. Okay, Lois says, sorry, my message is broken up. My phone is being super glitchy. Oh, it's totally fine. I feel like you've probably got more explanation to that question, but hopefully you say something else. FBI says, damn, awesome website. Could use a bit more work on it. Also make it safe from attackers. How do I make my website safe from attackers? It doesn't have any chat boards or anything, no anymore. I mean, my old website did, and it started getting mobbed by spammers, which is so annoying. But yeah, I do need to do more on my website. I'm just busy, man. I'm doing all this stuff by myself. I'm busy doing all these projects. And even when I'm making the videos, like I'm just kind of like sticking a camera here and there when I can get views of stuff. And I don't really put any time into editing stuff because I don't have time, And then in terms of my website, yeah, I need like an assistant, someone else who wants to work with me on stuff. That would be great. Anyway, FBI, isn't that your job, keeping us safe from attackers? That's right, FBI. FBI, you should help keep my website safe from attackers. I think that's your job. That's what we pay taxes for. What is this? At Slarty Barfist B is the name from Hitchhiker's Guide. Okay, I don't know what's going on there. My grandmother told me my grandmother told me can't never did. Oh, there's punctuation missing here, Mr. Yanarobi. My grandmother told me can't. And I think you're saying that she never did much. Yes. When you meet people who constantly tell you can't do things and you shouldn't do them, don't do, it's usually people who just like sit around in front of the TV or the computer just doing nothing. Like they don't do anything. And it's kind of sad, but like what happens is people start feeling bad about themselves and how useless they've become and how little they do. And if they see someone else doing something, it kind of like it throws away all the excuses that person has. Actually, this happened at the triathlon, and this wasn't anything malicious or anything. It was just, there were only 4 adults doing this triathlon this morning. And when I was at the starting line, there's this guy sitting on the side, and he looked like he was in perfectly good health. And I'm like, hey, why are you doing this, man? Get on your bike, let's go. And he had a beer and he's just chilling. And he's like, nah, I got, my flip-flops. And I'm like, I'm wearing my sandals. Only out of the 4 of us who did it, only one person had actual shoes on. But after the triathlon, that guy said, you know what? I'm gonna do the next triathlon. You're right. I could have just done it. Next time I'm gonna do it. And that's like a really positive outcome for this scenario. But like what happens a lot of times is people who are not doing something, when they see other people doing stuff, they get upset because it makes them feel useless and like they should be doing it. And the best response is what that guy did this morning, where he's like, you know what? I could do that. And I should do that next time. But the worst response is to just get angry and try to crush other people who are doing stuff and try to like drag them down to that terrible level where the person feels like, okay, now if everyone's crappy, I don't feel crappy. Except you still feel crappy, even if everyone else is crap too. Anyway, I was mentioned several times in the Hitchhiker's Guide. Let's see, Slarty Barfist B. Slarty Barfist B. That does sound familiar. Peter says, love the kayak build. Very slick design. I am a carpenter and would have gone for the 1/4 inch for the bending. You really did a great job with the 1/2 inch. And yes, the mold came out perfect. Yeah, you know, I did debate between the 1/4 inch and the 1/2 inch plywood, but I just think the 1/4 inch would be too floppy. Like it would bend really easily. And I've had this experience actually with making molds out of sheets of fiberglass, because the sheets of fiberglass, they're really easy to bend too, you know, like the 1/4 inch plywood. And, you know, I'll bend it into the shape, but then it'll end up having a little wobble partway through it. That's really hard to get out. But with the 1/2 inch plywood, there's no wobble. Like it's trying so hard to stay straight that when I forced it into the thing, it was just like smooth the whole way down. So yeah, it worked out really, really well. Let's see. Whoa, okay. I just missed a few things here. Okay, the kayak's awesome. Right. You knew exactly what you were doing when you designed it. I did not know exactly what I was doing when I designed it. I hoped it was going to come out well. I mean, it came out like pretty much as well as I hoped. But you know, I don't know. Especially when I was bending that plywood, I was not sure if it was going to survive. I was worried it was going to crack, but yeah, it worked really well. Okay, Lois says, but what if the fit, positive attitude, chemistry filled? Wait, I already read that one. How did I end up behind? These comments are jumping around on me. FBI says, lovely advice. What was my advice? I don't know. Okay, here we are, back to where. Okay, Lois says, was hoping you would say something I hate so I can get over my massive crush on you. Oh, come on now. All right, how about this? Yeah, I need some lady who's just gonna do whatever I say and lick my boots and kiss my butt. Oh God, that would be horrible. Like, who would want that? Like, oh, I would personally find that exhausting. Okay, here's the real problem with, and I know a lot of guys say that they do want this and encourage other guys to have this. But the idea of having a woman who just submits to you and just follows you and doesn't have her own opinion on anything, there are a lot of problems, particularly with any situation where you can't lead. So if you're in that situation and you're like, okay, I have to go on a business trip for 3 days. Now suddenly this woman who's submitting to you and does everything for you, she's now got 3 days by herself to be like, I don't know what to do. And you can leave her a list of stuff to do and try to like keep her on track or whatever. But like, if she's not motivated to be doing the things that you want to do, like if you don't have joint goals you're working toward, she's just going to be lost anytime you're not there telling her what to do. And then here's another problem that I've had with this, or that I have with this. And I can think of several examples in the past. Like I was dating this woman, this was many, many years ago. She was really beautiful and like very positive attitude, and I liked her a lot, but she was not like on board with me. Like she didn't want to come with me voluntarily. And at one point, she just told me flat out, look, I just want you to take me away from my life. Like, I want you to say, get in the car and let's go. And she's telling me this, and I'm like, well, and I'm thinking, that's exactly what I want. I want you to get in my car and then let's go, like, have this amazing adventure together and like achieve our goals that are our goals and all this stuff. But if I have to tell you to get in the car, then everything that happens after that is my fault. And it's a permanent reason to leave. It's like a permanent excuse to leave the relationship. So I've always, the whole like having a woman who just completely submits and you just make her do what you want, it just doesn't work, in my opinion. I'm sure there are other people who make that work, but it would not work for me. Like, I need someone who wants to come with me, with whom I can have joint goals that we both aim for. And we don't have to have all the same goals, like I want to have a lumber mill and cut my own wood. I don't want to go buy it. Maybe she's not into that. So maybe I'll just cut wood for her, and be like, all right, I'll take care of that part of business. And you want to, I don't know, what was I talking about before? You want to have an astronomy, what's that thing called? An observatory or whatever. I mean, I'll totally help you build that. In fact, I'll even get interested. That's a pretty interesting thing to get into. I would love to have someone who's interested in some kind of things that they can then teach me. That's one of the cool things about being in a relationship with someone who is different. You can learn from each other, and that's super cool. But to, have a life partner, you have to have some kind of mutual goals that keep you together, so you can go down this path. And you can each eat off different trees on the path as you're going, but you have to both be going down some same path to really stay together, And and both of you have to want to be on that path. Okay. FBI, who is this FBI guy anyway? Says implementing HTTPS requires an SSL or TLS certificate, which can be expensive for some organizations. Smaller websites may not have the budget to purchase and maintain a certificate. All right, this whole certificate thing that I need to buy so my website is safe. What the? No, that's stupid. Oh, God. Oh, I could go off for an hour, all the problems with that. Maybe Jaimie should visit Indianapolis. Maybe I should visit Indianapolis. I don't know. Yeah, I haven't been to the United States since I left and came here. I remember this is FBI again, FBI. Should I do a special voice for FBI guy? I kind of feel like maybe I should. FBI says, I remember 2000s when internet was actually all out free and people coming up with various websites and forums. That is what I call the golden age of the internet. When the internet first became like popular, and there were no advertisements, and all the websites were just like people's websites, and you could like search for something and you could find anything. It was amazing. And one of the this is totally irrelevant now, but way back in the day, during the golden age of the internet, I at some point I figured out that if you want to search for something that's hard to find, type in whatever you're looking for, brown zombie butts, and then type links to brown zombie butts. And people will have on their websites links to brown zombie butts. And you go to their website, and then you get a link right to things, like all kinds of things you'd never find on your own. Oh, the golden age of the internet. Now it's all commercialized. You go into a search engine, you type something in, and like the first 400 results are just paid advertisements. Oh, it's terrible. Okay. Slarty Barfist B says, I'm building a pedal boat. Oh, that's awesome. If I attach an e-bike motor to the pedals, is that cheating? Hell no, that's not cheating at all, man. Do it. Unless you're in a race that's solely a human power race. But no, man, that sounds awesome. Totally do it. Oh, I want to see a video of that. I want to see a video of your, or even pictures of just your pedal boat. That's super cool, man. Slarty Barfest says, friends just call me Slarty. My name isn't important. All right, let's see. Oh, Aku, Tepion, and FBI are talking about encryption of websites and stuff. I don't know what's going on there. Yay, it's Jaimie again. Yes, it is Glass 007. John, what's up, man? Jaimie, did you get a meat smoker built yet? I mean, no. I'm sure you could build some fish traps and have some awesome smoked fish always on hand. I did build a fish trap. It actually worked really well. But I have not smoked anything yet. No. I have a refrigerator now. It's almost like cheating. You know, like a refrigerator freezer. Yeah, it's not even that big. It's just a little one. But it kind of makes like food so easy to be able to just freeze stuff. It's like, I don't want to deal with this right now. Just put it in the freezer, and 3 weeks later, oh, okay, now I want to deal with this, and pull it out. Let's see. Good idea, Mr. Landfill. In Google nowadays. All right. Let's see. Just reload the chats. All right. It looks like I'm at the end of comments here, so I'm probably going to get out of here in a few minutes. If anyone has any last minute questions or anything, let me know. Okay. BB Glass 007 says, what do you think of ADHD and being organized and finishing projects? Well, why do people ask these huge questions like at the end? Okay. First, what do I think of ADHD? I think ADHD is way over, what's the word? Overdiagnosed. Because this is so frustrating. But kids get stuck in these classrooms and they're told, sit there and don't move for hours. And kids can't do it, right? Obviously. And then since they can't sit there still for hours every day, they start pumping pills into them. Oh, it's so, no, kids run around. That's what kids need to do. Yeah, obviously they can learn academic-y stuff too, but kids need activity, man. Your body does not thrive being still. We're made to move. You got to move around, man. So trying to force kids to stay still, of course, is going to make it look like they have ADHD. Totally overdiagnosed. Okay, anyway, being organized. I think being organized is super important, particularly when you have a lot of projects. And the question about finishing projects, I think it is really valuable to get a habit of finishing projects. And I don't even think it necessarily has to be the kind of thing where you start a project and you go straight to completion without any interruptions. You can start a project, work on that, and then, while you're waiting for parts or something, or you're missing inspiration for this, you can work on something else for a while. And if you have the habit of finishing projects, you'll come back to this thing. You will come back to it and at some point finish it. That's a super good habit to have. Just getting into the habit of finishing projects, particularly long-term projects that you can't do all in one shot. Super valuable skill to learn. Super valuable habit to get. And a lot of people have difficulty finishing projects. Like they keep starting things. And one of the ways you can build the habit of finishing projects is to limit the number of projects you have going at any particular time. So maybe you say, I can have 3 major projects going at any particular time. One that I can work on inside, so the weather doesn't matter, so if it's raining or whatever. One that I'm working on outside, so I need a sunny day for that one. And then this is like one that's not physically demanding, so if I'm too tired, I can work on, just like a variety of things for different circumstances. And then say, okay, I can have 3 projects going at once. I can't start a new project until I finish one of those. That's something I've done in my life. to make sure I don't keep starting projects and then, just end up with too many things to finish. And a lot of times, this is something that homesteaders have a lot, people living off grid. I do have a lot of projects going kind of at any particular time, definitely more than 3. But they're always like, there will be like long-term projects that I do in my spare time. And then there will be like a long-term project that is the top priority that I work on anytime I can work on it. And then there's smaller projects where it's like, okay, it's a rainy day. I just need to sew myself some new shorts, and I have a lot of projects going on. And yeah, I'll just pick something to work on and do it till it's done. Hi, Jaimie. The new kayak is awesome. Can't wait to see a whole bunch of them. Yeah, even just getting the second one done is going to be really awesome. Because I can fit myself and 3 of my kids in, but I can very easily fit myself and 2 of my kids in the one kayak. Like my 2 little kids can sit in front of me, plenty of space. And then my 2 older kids, they can get in a kayak on their own, and then we can like go kayaking and stuff. And I did make the kayak so it's very easy to put a board or some kind of connector across them, so to catamaran them. So it's easy to, get in and out, so you can jump out and swim and climb back in. Or even just, if I'm going somewhere with kids, and I'm not about to go like cross an ocean or do anything crazy with all my kids in a kayak. But like we can connect the 2 kayaks together, and then we can go a little further than I would normally go because it's very stable then and it's very safe, So yeah, it's going to be really cool, even just having a second kayak made. And I need to go get some resin for that. I have plenty of fiberglass cloth to make a few more kayaks, but I need to get more resin. Okay, John says, is ADHD real? I don't know. I mean, when you start getting into definitions like that, it's like, it just depends what your definition of it is. Like, you can define something that's real, or you can define something that's imaginary. A lot of it depends on on the sanity of the person. For me personally, I don't worry about like those kind of labels too much, because they get so overdiagnosed, with the whole, ADHD, autism, are you on the spectrum, Asperger's, all that kind of stuff. What's your disorder? I think what's a more important question to ask is, are you a good person? And then strive to be the best person you can. And everyone has problems. Everyone's starting at a different place and has different challenges. But whatever your challenges are, face those. Try to make yourself the best person you can be. Personally, I like to aim for a guy that I could never become. Like a version of myself who's so awesome, I could never possibly achieve that. And I aim for that and try to get there. And then I just appreciate any step I make toward that. And I know a lot of people think you shouldn't set goals too high because then you're constantly failing. But if you're not thinking about it that way, if you just think this is the direction I want to aim, like there's something off in the distance I can't possibly get to, but that's like a guiding star, like I'm never going to get to that star, but that's the direction I need to go. So I'm going to aim for that star, and I will make progress, in like real progress in the direction of that star, even though I'll never make it. And it's good to just appreciate that progress. There's a saying I saw in someone's fridge once, which was aim for the moon. Even if you miss, you'll land among the stars, which, doesn't scientifically or logically really make sense. But, the point is good. Okay, Slarty Barfus B says ADHD was just considered having a personality. Yeah, like today, the way they deal with kids and just hand out these ADHD diagnoses is like, if you're alive and not being drugged, you probably have ADHD, Like I couldn't imagine putting my kids in a school system where they just have to sit there all day and just behave, listen. Oh God. I remember when I was in school, I was always getting yelled at for not listening. And I'd be like, I am listening. And they're like, you're not looking here. And I'm like, I don't listen with my eyes. I can hear you. Oh my God. And then I just get screamed at and sent to the office, blah, blah, blah. And to me, it was very logical. Of course, I don't need to look at you to hear you. And yeah, anyway. Question. Oh, wait. School system basically makes us peons, not thinkers. Yeah, well, the school system today is made specifically to create factory workers and office workers and just slaves. Yeah, peons. Sean says, question, any update on dredging your channel or the mud sucker? I haven't not been using the mud sucker. When I want to get some muck out of the way, like the fastest way to clear some muck out is just to jump in there with some buckets. It's the most disgusting way, but it is by far the fastest way to do it. And then the kind of the low key way to do that is to stand on the shore with a long pipe, and at the end of the pipe is a big scoop. I can scoop some muck out and just dump it on the land. So I've been doing that. Like whenever I'm doing some digging and I'm walking past the canal, I'll just take a few scoops of canal, just kind of, maintain the canal, because it's not like it fills in really fast. Like it fills in slowly over time. So if every now and then I take a few scoops and dump them out, it kind of maintains it, maybe even makes it a bit deeper. Just keeps up with the sediment, Let's see. I don't know. I'm questioning myself, and I never finish projects. It sucks. I just hate the project after a while. All right, this sounds like you need to make yourself finish a project. All right, so this is BB Glass 007. You can totally ignore this advice if you want, but here's my recommendation. Look at the projects you have open, that you have going right now. Pick like 2, maybe 3, no more than that. Pick 3 projects at the max and say, those are the 3 projects that I'm going to do. And then you cannot start another project of any kind. Well, not of any kind. You might have something you absolutely need to do, but like you can't open a new project until you finish one of those. And even if that means sitting there staring at these 3 projects, hating them, because at some point you're going to be like, all right, I have nothing to do except work on one of these. And then you're going to start playing with one a little, and then you're going to start realizing, oh, okay, this isn't as bad as I thought. And then you're going to start remembering why you wanted to do the project in the first place. And then, you start getting interested again, but you got to force yourself to do it. You got to take away that easy out, which is like, this is difficult and uncomfortable right now, so let me just start something else. You just pick a few projects and say, this is it. These are the only things I can work on. I cannot start another project till I'm finished one of these. And I don't know, let me know how it goes, if you do it. Let's see. Nice job storytelling the triathlon story. Thanks, man. Let's see. You're really awesome at completing projects, and I know you are always changing things. An artist's work is never done, but you're also an engineer. It's really admirable. Well, thanks, man. And yeah, I do try to finish projects. One of the ways I finish projects is I'll put myself in a precarious position where I kind of have to finish the project. So like this house I'm in, for example, not counting, the landscaping and the starting and then, stuff I've done after. But like the main house that I'm in right now, it was almost exactly 1 year of just like solid, hard work. And I put myself in the position where I put all my eggs in that basket. Like I spent money on materials and I started spending time on this, and it was something that I knew was going to get harder and harder as the year went, as I got higher and higher in the building. And then this dome roof, I still can't believe I friggin' made that. But the reason I made it, and the reason I stuck with it, and the reason I actually got it finished. I mean, it's not finished. There's always more stuff I can do, you know. But like it basically got the basic stuff finished. Is I put myself in a position where if I finish this house, I have an awesome house. If I don't finish this house, I'm kind of screwed, you know. And one of the examples, probably the example that I always think about when I'm putting myself in that kind of position was many years ago during high school. It was at the end of high school, and I just finished a track and field season, so I didn't have to, you know, be prepared for any track meets or anything. And I was at my dad's house, and I was thinking, I want to run to my mom's house. And it was like 40, 50 miles, at least on the route that I was gonna run. And I was like, I want to do this. And I knew it was much farther than I'd run in any recent times. But I was like, you know what I can do? I can just lock myself out of the house here, and then I have two options. I can sit around on the front lawn for 8 hours till someone else comes home, or I can run the whole distance, you know. So I basically cut off the path behind me. I cut off my retreat. Locked the door behind myself outside of the house with no key, and made it so I'm here. The only place I have to go in the next 8 hours is this long distance away. And then that's that. And then I didn't even think about going back after that. You know, I cut it off physically and then really mentally cut it off and said, okay, that's it. Go forward. Forward is the only direction. So that's like the mindset I put myself in when I really need to finish a project. You know, forward is the only direction. There is no going back. There's only going forward. Let's see, what was I? Sean says at Twan. What did Twan say? I don't know. Let's see. Hopefully we figured it out. I made one that's on my channel with quick lock clamps and PVC. Oh, what was Twan talking about? Twan Lee said, oh, this is about a kayak. Oh, I missed a comment here. Sorry. Twan Lee said, hi, Jaimie. The new kayak is awesome. Can't wait to see a whole bunch of them. Oh, okay. I read that part. I want to see you make a platform that easily snaps on to two kayaks to make a quick catamaran. Yes. Okay. I was talking about that, but I didn't read that whole comment. And who's this? Sean said, I made one that's on my channel with quick lock clamps and PVC. Ooh, Sean, can you send me a link? My email's down here. I want to do that. I mean, I might not necessarily do it the same way you did or whatever, but I would love to see an example of that. You know, a quick way to connect the two kayaks together. Oh, I'd love to see that. Okay, BB Glass 007 says, and I consider most projects at 90% to be done. If it does the thing, then it's good enough. Yeah, I mean, same with me. Like there are so many projects where I'll get like 80% of it done, and it's totally usable then. Like most of my boats, I mean, almost every boat, like I'll get to a point where I'm like, okay, totally usable. Yeah, there's some more stuff I could do. I could sand this and smooth this out and paint that and do all kinds of finishing stuff, but it's totally usable. Let's go, man. And there's a saying, here's another saying. It goes something like, it takes 20% of the time to get 80% of the results. And the last 20% of the results take 80% of the time. And I have found that to be pretty accurate. Like finishing details takes so much time. So often, like with my boats, for example, there's all kinds of parts that are not under the water. So smoothness is not necessary for their good performance. So like all the parts above the water, I'll just put the fiberglass on and leave it. And you can see the fiberglass fibers and everything, and it's rough. And I'm like, doesn't matter. And now if I really wanted to, finish it, I'd have to go over that with some, what do you call that stuff? Surface? I don't remember what it's called. It doesn't matter. The surface layer that you can smooth it out with and get it sanded and polished. It'd take forever to friggin' do that, right? But it's not needed because 80% done can just be 100% done if you decide that that's good enough. And you got to be careful about deciding what's good enough because you know in your head when it's actually good enough and when you're BSing yourself and saying it's good enough because you don't feel like doing anymore. But yeah. All right, let's see. I call it the kayakamaran. It's about the kayak catamaran. The kayakamaran. You know what I've been calling my kayak? Because it's a little bit canoey, like it's got the big opening and it's pretty stable. I've been calling it the kayak canoe. Let's see. Okay. BB Glass says, you aim so high, but never give up. Wow, that's crazy. I relapse all the time, like trying to employ new habits or whatever. Well, I mean, yeah, I think it's important to think about. I mean, if you're going to aim really high, you have to think about it like you're following a star that you're never going to reach. So like when I think about the person I would like to be, it's just this guy that's just, I mean, impossible to be that amazing. But that's my guiding star. He's like up ahead. I'm heading for that guy. And I know I can't get there. But yeah, you just have to not get discouraged by the fact that you're not going to get there. You just have to put it in your mind that may not be an achievable goal. Although you don't want to limit yourself, maybe you set some huge crazy goal and you actually reach it. Oh, okay, let's see. Tanks champ, gotta go drill some holes. Oh, gotta go drill some holes now. Oh, very good, very good. BB Glass is like, I'm like, this is becoming too much effort. Oh, when something is becoming too much effort, that is when you are gaining the most. So when something becomes too much effort, that is not the time to quit. That is the time to stick to it. Like that's the time when it's like, oh, now I have to dive headfirst into this pain and discomfort because I am going to get so much out of it. That's when you grow and learn the most, is when something becomes too much effort. And if you can just not back off and keep pushing, like you might get to a point where it's just agonizing trying to go forward and you're making almost no progress. But that's when you gain the most, when you learn the most. And you figure out how to start making progress on something that seemed like it was too much effort. And then by the time you get it done, you're like, that wasn't too much effort. I just thought it was. I just needed to become a better person. And that's like one of the things where you set your goals to become this amazing person. And you have projects that you work on that are outside your current capabilities, but you have to head toward this amazing person that you aim for and become better so that you can handle this thing. And that's one of the things, when people talk about projects that are impossible, and I've often been told that you should never start a project that is impossible because you're not going to be able to do it. You're going to be discouraged and blah, blah, blah. But starting a project that's impossible for you now, but could become possible if you grew, that is a super good thing to do. Don't shy away from impossible projects. Just take them on and become the person who can do it and make it so it becomes possible. Are you a legal resident of Panama? I am, yes, I'm a legal resident here. Have you got a firearm license yet? I'm not talking about firearms on the internet. You know what happens when you talk about firearms on the internet? You get booted off this thing. And I don't need anyone knowing what sort of murder machines I may or may not have. Nobody needs to know that. Because someone who might use that information and show up might. Yeah, I just like to leave that a little bit unknown. Why did you mention Indianapolis? Sean, okay, because Lois, who has a crush on me, lives in Indianapolis. I think Lois should come visit here. Lois, you should send me an email if you really have a crush on me. Maybe we do match. Maybe we do fit together. I don't know. But it doesn't hurt to have a conversation and find out. Worst case scenario, it's like, oh, okay, we're not compatible. But there's no big loss there, Okay. Let's see. That actually was me. Let's see. All right, you guys are having a conversation on your own. Jaimie, I will send you an email. Excellent, Sean. That's about the Kayak Yes, I definitely want to see that. Do you have, Mr. Landfill, do you have a YouTube channel? Mr. Landfill does not have a YouTube channel. Oh, Sean Laurie is Kayakamoran on Instagram. I am going to try to remember that. And look up Kayakamoran on Instagram. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to go. Hopefully I can see your cool Kayakamoran. All right, I'm back to the end of comments. Hopefully you guys have gleaned some bits of inspiration or something here. If not, hopefully I was at least mildly entertaining. Either way, I hope everyone's having a good evening or morning or lunch or breakfast or whatever you got, wherever you are. Oh, BB Glass says, Jaimie, everything you said has been awesome. Well, I don't know about everything I've said. I know I say some dumb things now and then. But, I keep trying to go in a good direction overall. Let's see. I'm going to try to gun it out. Minimize distractions and finish 3 projects. Do it, man. BB Glass, don't worry about finishing 3 at first. Just finish 1. Finish 1. Okay. But yeah, don't start anything else until you get one of those 3 finished. Glad to join into the convo. Be safe and sound. Will this live be saved? I really appreciate it. Yeah, this live should be saved. Hola, Jaimie. Have a great night. Wow, thank you very much, Jensen. Yeah, BB Glass. Just remember, this live was called something about Triathlon of the Galaxy or something. So yeah, if you need to watch that again, totally do it as much as you want. Okay, I'm going to get out of here and eat some of my weird Chinese popcorn cannon corn and rice snacks. And I don't know what else I'm going to do. Live first annual Intergalactic Triathlon. That's what it is, FBI. Thank you very much. All right, everybody have a great night. Where's the button? There's a button. Oh, wait, hold on. No firearms talk. Okay, no problem. Jaimie, do you have a balloon and a coin and a hex nut? Put them in the balloon. Give it a spin. Trust me, it'll keep your kids occupied for hours. I totally know what you're talking about. I'm not totally opposed to talking about firearms, but I don't know. Their YouTube is weird about firearms. Yeah. Man, you guys are saying all kinds of stuff now. Okay, I gotta get out of here.